So good afternoon, Kim. I am Kathy Flanagan Payton, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Fifth Ward Community Redevelopment Corporation, and so excited to be a new board member for the Central Houston District.
And we are excited to have you. Kathy, thank you so much for spending some time talking with me today. You, of course, are a recent addition to the Central Houston Board. You are a UT Austin grad, a Houston native. For the past 17 years, you have been running the Fifth Ward Community Redevelopment Corporation. Tell us a little bit about that organization.
Well, let me just back up and say not only am I a native Houstonian, but I am also a native Fifth Wardian. And I'm very proud of that, Kim, because I happen to be a New Year's baby. And my caption read a first all the way around. So I was a first for my parents, my grandparents, the city of Houston, and St. Elizabeth Hospital, also located right here in Fifth Ward, that I happen to have the awesome privilege of currently repurposing that building into a new affordable housing project. So I'm excited to talk about Fifth Ward in my role here. I've served as executive director, well, we call it here president and chief executive officer, for the last 17 years. However, I started with the Fifth Ward Community Redevelopment Corporation as a volunteer with my church, the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church here in Fifth Ward, and was wanting to get engaged and finding something to do with my time as I was transitioning in between jobs, and found upon the Fifth Ward Community Redevelopment Corporation. I started out as deputy director and program manager. And from that, I was determined, even in my interview, when they interviewed me and say, well, where do you hope to be in 5 years? I say, I hope to be the CEO of this organization. And lo and behold, here I am, 27 years later total that I've been with the organization, now at the helm of leading the comprehensive redevelopment of Houston's historic Fifth Ward. And we achieved that, Kim, through what we call lines of businesses. And Fifth Ward CRC has 6 core lines of businesses, real estate being our most prominent and primary, homeownership, promotion, and preservation, which includes all of the coaching, financial literacy, homebuyer education, counseling that aids and helps and assists families in obtaining the dream of homeownership and keeping and outfitting their home and avoiding foreclosure at all costs. We also have economic development, which supports our small businesses here in Fifth Ward. We have arts and culture, and if you didn't know, Fifth Ward was named Houston's first African-American cultural arts district in September last year, along with our sister community, the Third Ward. We also have community building and engagement, which is critical for areas like Fifth Ward, where you've seen a lot of change taking place, a lot of gentrification and a lot of displacement. It's very important that our work represents the work and the needs of the community and is responsive as such. And then lastly, but not least, we have community supportive services, where we do a lot around planning, administrative support. We serve as administrator for the TERS and Center for Urban Transformation, and then doing some collaborative work where we bring other partners together to achieve our goals. So we're busy over here in Fifth Ward.
Yes, you are. You are very busy. And in your 27 years with the organization, you've seen so much change. How has the neighborhood evolved?
Well, you know, I think the most fond memory I have of Fifth Ward, Kim, is when I was a little girl growing up in the neighborhood. And when I was coming through, when the neighborhood began to decline, I used to tell my parents that I think the birds, the movie The Birds, were eating all of the people, because every time we came back into the community, we were displaced by I-10. And every time we came back into the community, I began to see fewer and fewer people and less businesses and less retail opportunities. And the traffic had really slowed. What's exciting for me now is that that is no longer the case. People are running back, flocking back to the Fifth Ward, and the opportunities for growth are at our fingertips. We're working diligently. We started with the affordable housing arena and bringing both affordable and market rate housing. But now you have businesses coming back to the community, and even the 150-acre site that will be developed along our southern border with Midway. That's going to have a tremendous impact on the Fifth Ward. So I'm excited about all the growth, about all the people, about the diversity of our community, about our welcoming newcomers to the community. One thing that's definitely different: when I was here growing up, it was predominantly an African-American community. That is no longer the case. We're about 45% African-American, 45% Hispanic, and 10% everything else. And so much like the city of Houston, we're growing in diversity and we're growing culturally, and that's always exciting because no one wants to live in isolation. So I'm most excited about that.
That is terrific. So I know you have been partnering with our economic development team around some innovation initiatives. What does entrepreneurship look like in the Fifth Ward?
Oh man, there's so much need here, Kim. We conducted some research here in the community, and we found that there are some 1,600 businesses here in the Fifth Ward, many of which operate their businesses out of their homes. And so we have been fortunate as an organization to receive an economic development grant for $3.7 million from the Economic Development Administration. And we're building a business incubator and WeWork model type of office hoteling here in the Fifth Ward. And we're working with your innovation team to help us create this new state-of-the-art facility that will provide varying levels of connectivity throughout the city of Houston and bring innovation to this community, to this district, that will allow us to have the world as our frontier and allow our businesses to access this new paradigm in terms of how we capitalize on a new digital inclusion in a digital format. So we're keenly excited about that. We are in the design phase and our plans are in permitting right now. And so we hope to be breaking ground on that in the next 90 days with an opening shortly thereafter. So we're really excited about that. And that facility will be located on Chew Street, just east of Lockwood, right here in the heart of Fifth Ward.
That is really exciting. How can downtown businesses in Central Houston support what you guys are doing there?
Well, you know, all too often, I think, Kim, when people enter into the downtown arena, they live in that corridor. They don't leave downtown for Houston. And what I would like to share is that Fifth Ward is a stone's throw. We are really the northern boundary of downtown Houston. And so there are a lot of opportunities for you to come and enjoy the neighborhood. We will be bringing food and entertainment attractions to the community. There's already the historic Deluxe Theater that's programming and offering performance venues. There's some great cuisine that's unique to the community and culture right here, like our very own Nickel Grill that has some great Louisiana Southern cuisine here, and a number of JJ's. There's a number of places where you can find some of the best burgers and the best barbecue in the city of Houston. And so forget about what you've heard about Fifth Ward and all of the negative things. We hear negative things about communities all the time. Put that aside and take a chance and experience Fifth Ward for yourself. You'll find that it's a very welcoming community, very warm, lots of inspiration and lots to do here. And certainly we're proud of the fact that, again, we're Houston's first African-American cultural arts district.
So as that community has evolved, across Houston, gentrification is something that I think we all really struggle with. What does responsible gentrification and progress look like to you?
Well, responsible gentrification is not gentrification per se, but it's more about integration. It's how do we all live together? How do we live effectively without displacing and creating hardships for others? And I think that's what it's all about. And so as people begin to appreciate that there are negative implications of gentrification that sometimes and oftentimes can be avoided, we can all live together harmoniously. This is not necessarily, and we're not trying to recreate the Fifth Ward of yesterday or recreate what we call a ghetto. What we're trying to do is improve the quality of life for all. But in order to do that, we have to be inviting to newcomers and those with a fresh perspective and who have no ties, but we also have to be accommodating and responsive to the indigenous community. So one of the things that we're working to do, and this is not a problem, Kim, that's unique to Fifth Ward, is create and enhance the opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and people of color in terms of home ownership, owning real estate, owning their businesses, and making sure that we're capitalizing and utilizing these resources and supporting them both from a residential standpoint and an economic standpoint so that all of us can prosper. You know, it's not about a culture, it's not about a class, it's not about a race of people, but everyone deserves the prosperity that the city of Houston has to offer. And we are a great, big, diverse city, and our communities should mimic that with the profile of our city.
Kathy, I love everything you just said. In our office, your leadership is held in very high regard.
Well,
what do you think has contributed to your success over the years?
Well, to be honest with you, I've had friends like Bob Urey, who's been a great mentor, a great teacher, a great supporter, and I'm going to call him the equalizer because he has very much so taken me under his wing and provided coaching and guidance in terms of understanding what it means to comprehensively develop a community. As you guys are familiar with the downtown Houston, it wasn't the focus of just about focusing on what does it mean to live downtown or what does it just mean to work downtown, but you had to address all aspects in terms of quality of life. What does the downtown experience need to feel like? And that's one of the lessons that Bob taught me in terms of Kathy. It's not just about place. It's not just about space, but it's also about the people who would occupy those places and spaces. And how do you make this both inviting to newcomers, welcoming to those who are already here, and comfortable for those who don't have a choice and can't go anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So it's trying to put together the pieces of those puzzles. So I've had great mentors. I've had the educational background that I think lends itself to my being able to lead this organization. And I have an awesome board myself of 13, including one of them, which is Bob Uri, that will be hate to lose here in a couple of months. But I have an awesome board of key visionaries who are from the community and who are very engaged in the affairs and making sure that our program responds to the needs of the constituents here in the Fifth Ward and those who we'd like to see here. So we try to plan for tomorrow and not for yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm glad to hear you talk about the strength of your board, and we're certainly happy to have you on our board. Why did you think it was important to be a part of Central Houston?
Well, we've always had these conversations, and I felt that if Bob could lend his resources to us here in Fifth Ward, then I certainly could lend my resources to you in downtown. And one of the things that this mayoral administration has always committed and touts very loudly is that we are one city. And so we're not separated by geography, but we're brought together by geography. And given the close proximity of Fifth Ward to downtown Houston, I felt like as go downtown, as go our communities, and vice versa. And if we're going to flourish and prosper, we should all flourish and prosper together, because what is done downtown does indeed impact what happens and what goes on in Fifth Ward and vice versa. So we need to be on the same page. We need to think strategically about the consequences and the impacts that our work is having on each of these communities, both individually and collectively. So I hope that I can bring the resources that avail themselves from the Fifth Ward, the strategies that we're employing to downtown Houston. And if nothing else, Kim, increase awareness about the work that we're doing here so that there's a greater appreciation for the community level redevelopment that's taking place in Fifth Ward and throughout the city of Houston.
Well, I know we're really excited about the partnership with you all. It's great to have Fifth Ward so close and to watch all of the advancement in that community. Anything else that somebody should know if they haven't been to Fifth Ward in a while? You did a pretty good job of describing it, but any other hot tips for a visitor?
Well, we're keenly focused on preserving our history, and we've got a lot going on. We're releasing a new documentary, Memory Builds the Monument. It captivates the Fifth Ward in its heyday in its 30s, 40s, and 50s, when we were the economic commerce for Black Houston. And one of the things that we're trying to reintroduce is that concept that Fifth Ward is a great place to make a living. It's a great place to grow your business and a great place to live. And so we want to encourage those who have not had an opportunity to see and experience the Fifth Ward. If you can't do it in person, then by all means, reach out and touch us through the documentary, Memory Builds the Monument, and find out about the great and positive history that Fifth Ward is creating and the things that we have planned as we look forward. As again, I'm excited about being able to repurpose the historic St. Elizabeth Hospital. And so in the next 2 years, you'll be hearing more about that awesome development, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to come celebrate the grand opening, that along with our economic development building, the Innovation Center on Chew Street. So we've got a lot going on. We're excited. We hope that you will take the time to pause and come and tour our community and just see and experience all the great things that are going on. We've been shuttered now with the COVID-19 crisis and have not been able to do our annual festival, but each year, the week before Easter, we drop 75,000 eggs from a helicopter, have in excess of 125 vendors and 5 performance stages. And we have the best community festival Houston has seen each year. So we're looking forward, crossing our fingers that in 22, we'll be able to bring this great festival back to the Fifth Ward and have all of our friends join us.
That is wonderful. So Kathy, where can we find the documentary? Is that on the website?
Sure, if you'll reach out to it. Well, we're doing the premiere, but as soon as we do the release, it will be available on 2 websites. It'll actually be located at fifthwardcrc.org, as well as thedeluxetheater.com, spell it out, thedeluxetheater.com, and fifthwardcrc.org, spell it out, fifthwardcrc.org.
Wow, you guys have a lot going on in the Fifth Ward. I love it.
We do.
I am so thrilled that you were able to take the time to keep us updated on what is going on. Before we go, what is one of your favorite things about downtown Houston?
I give Bob a hard time about this all the time. I can tell you what my past favorite thing is and what my current. My past favorite thing was the Foley's and the Macy's. And that's the one thing that I miss so much, is not having Foley's and Macy's downtown. But my favorite thing about downtown now is just all of the eateries and the cultural feel that you have when you experience downtown, and particularly centered around Discovery Green. I'm a foodie, so I love all the good food. I love all the cuisine, and I love the rich history and culture of downtown and how it brings all of our city together. I just love it.
That's great. Kathy, thank you so much. This has been really fun. Your enthusiasm is just infectious. So I look forward to partnering with you more in the future. And thank you for being with us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you soon. Bye.